There are places in this country where the land is so big and the silence is so deep that it's easy to forget how fragile life can be. Montana is one of those places. Out here, the nearest town is 40 miles away. The stars come out so thick at night, they look like something spilled across the sky. It was 11:47 at night when my phone rang. A farmer outside Glacier County. He was calm at first, the way people are when they're trying not to panic. He said there was an animal in his well. He didn't know what kind. I called Sarah, told her to meet me at the truck. Whatever was in that well was alive, and it was running out of time. Neither of us said much on the drive out. We'd done this before. Dozens of calls, dozens of nights. Sarah came running through the cold night with her medical kit in her arms. She didn't ask questions. She already knew it was serious. We pulled out into the dark with only the headlights ahead of us. No sirens, no noise, just urgency. Neither of us said much on the drive. We'd done rescues before, but something about this call felt different. For miles, we were the only light on that road. One truck moving through the darkness toward a life we hadn't even seen yet. My hands were on the wheel, but my mind was already at that well. I kept thinking, please don't let us be too late. The farm was 40 miles from the nearest town. In the dark, it felt like the very edge of the world. When we arrived, people were already gathered around the well, flashlights in their hands, fear on every face. The farmer said it fell in around sundown. 6 hours in cold water. 6 hours alone in the dark. I leaned over the stone edge and shined my light down. And when I saw those eyes looking back, my heart stopped. It was a leopard. Full grown. Wet. Trapped. Exhausted. And terrified. Her eyes glowed like fire in that darkness. But behind the fire, I didn't see anger. I saw fear. The word moved through the crowd in seconds. A leopard. Nobody there had ever seen anything like it. The deputy wanted to wait for animal control. I understood him. But I told him the truth. She might not make it till morning. Sarah looked down and knew right away. The water was freezing. The animal was weak. We had maybe 2 or 3 hours. I checked the stone, the beam, the ground, the rope angle. One mistake could hurt her. Or us. From above it looked small, just people standing around a hole. But in that moment, that hole was the whole world. There, all her power had been reduced to shaking and survival. A wild animal, waiting for someone to care enough to help. We built the rescue rig fast, but carefully. Every knot had to hold. Every clip had to be right. I've done a lot of rescues. You never stop being scared. You just learn to let fear keep you sharp. A little girl stood in the crowd, holding her flashlight with both hands. I wondered if she understood how fragile even the strongest creatures can be. Sarah prepared the syringe with steady hands. Enough to calm the leopard, not enough to put her in danger. Deputy Cole pushed everyone back. At first, he was skeptical, but now he understood. This was a rescue. We were just 2 people, a rope and a hope. Below us was a life with no voice, but she didn't need one. We already knew. Everything came down to this moment. Either we brought her out alive, or we didn't. I stepped over the edge and lowered myself down. The stone was cold, the air was tight, and the darkness swallowed me. In the dark, all I could see were her eyes, burning gold, watching me come closer. She snarled the moment I got near. I didn't blame her. To her, I was just another threat. The sound echoed up the well, and everyone above froze. That wasn't rage. That was fear speaking. I kept my voice low and my body still. No sudden moves, no pressure, just patience. Above me, Sarah held the rope like my life depended on it, because it did. Then she swiped, fast, powerful, inches from my face. For a second, the whole world stopped. The crowd gasped, but Sarah stayed steady. Real courage isn't the absence of fear, it's control in the middle of it. I reached out slowly, palm open. Sometimes rescue begins by proving you are not there to hurt them. Her eyes changed just a little. Not trust. Not yet. But maybe a little less fear. The sedation went in clean. She flinched, then slowly relaxed. For the first time that night, she could rest. I looked up and called for the harness. She was safe for now, but getting her out was still the hardest part. Sarah lowered the harness inch by inch. Her hands were tired, but she didn't slow down. I fitted the straps around her carefully. A wild predator, completely helpless, trusting us without knowing it. By 3 a.m, more people had gathered, but nobody made noise. Everyone knew they were watching something rare. Then the whole community pulled together. Farmers, deputy, strangers, all hands on the same rope. I stayed below her, guiding her away from the stone. Every inch mattered. Every second felt like a lifetime. Slowly, she rose from the darkness. Water dripping from her paws, her spotted body moving toward the light. When she came over the edge, people started crying. Grown men, tough people, because everyone knew what that moment meant. They lowered her onto the blanket like she was made of glass. And finally, after hours in that well, she was back on Earth. I climbed out soaked and shaking, but I didn't even stand up. I went straight to her, just to feel her breathing. Her paw was cut from the stone. Sarah cleaned it gently, like every life mattered completely. Because it does. We wrapped her in a thermal blanket, not just to warm her body, but to give her the first peace she'd had all night. I stayed close to her face and listened to her breathe. I don't know if animals understand care, but I hope she felt it. The old farmer stood back with his hat in his hands. He didn't say much, but his eyes said everything. By 4 a.m, the darkness began to soften. The night was ending, and somehow she had made it through. Just before dawn, her eyes opened. And for one quiet moment, we looked at each other. Really looked. She didn't snarl. She didn't fight. She just looked at me, tired and alive. And that was enough. Sarah looked at me and smiled. Not a big smile, just the kind that says, "We did it." Even the deputy, who wanted to wait for morning, didn't say a word. He just nodded. Then she lifted her head, weak, tired, but still proud. The wild was coming back into her eyes. The first light touched the Montana sky. After a night like that, dawn felt like mercy. When she stood on her own, that was the moment. That was everything we do this for. In the morning light, she looked different. Not helpless anymore. Not trapped. Just wild, beautiful, and alive. The little girl smiled through tears. Maybe she saw what all of us felt. Hope standing on 4 legs. 16 hours after that phone call, she stood on her own paws in the Montana sunrise. And I thought, this is why. This is always why. The whole farm changed with the sunrise. What had been fear in the night became hope in the morning. She looked toward the trees, breathing in the cold morning air. No cage, no well, just open land ahead. She started walking slowly, one step, then another. Every step away from us was a victory. I wanted to help her more, but the best thing we could do now was let her go. She moved toward the forest, toward the place she belonged. No applause could match the sound of freedom returning. Then she stopped and looked back, just once. And I'll remember that look for the rest of my life. Sarah turned away for a second, wiping her face. Some rescues don't just save animals. They change the people who show up. People don't usually clap at a rescue. But that morning, I think we all needed it. We needed to feel that together. Sarah and I stood side by side, too tired to speak. Sometimes silence says more than words ever could. The well was empty now. Just old stone, rope marks, and one story none of us would ever forget. She's out there somewhere, moving through a world that belongs to her. A world that always belonged to her. We don't do this for cameras. We do this because they can't do it for themselves. Because the voiceless deserve a voice. We packed the truck in the morning light. The job was done, but none of us were leaving as the same people who arrived. Somewhere out there, a leopard is alive that wasn't going to be. And that is everything. Subscribe to a Voiceless Heroes, because the voiceless deserve a champion.